Hello and welcome to the Clarity Business Design Show. I'm your host, Erik Soper. Today we're going to be talking about the show. We're going to do a brief introduction of myself, of Clarity Business Design, the company behind the podcast, and then we'll talk a little bit about what to expect from the show going forward. This is an exciting new venture I'm looking forward to sharing with you. Let's roll the intro and get started. Marketing, advertising, and business have never been more accessible in history, and it only gets better every year. But it's hard work, overwhelming, and easy to fall down a distracted path. I'm Erik Soper. Stop marketing to yourself. You are not your customer. And I'm here to help you design for success in your systems, your digital presence, your strategy, and your brand positioning. Come along and we'll walk the road of the entrepreneur together, whether you are an entrepreneur yourself or a marketing titled professional. Welcome to the Clarity Business Design Show. Thank you for joining me here on the inaugural episode of the Clarity Business Design Show, episode 0. This is going to be a little introduction of basically what we're doing here, and I really hope that you'll continue listening once we explain what we're doing. At the time of recording, it's January 2022. We have just entered a new year. I'm in the middle of my 5th year in business, and I want to start building a broader community. I want to start connecting more with you, the listener, and getting a sense of what businesses like yours are doing here in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, and then hopefully, inevitably beyond that. We're just going to talk a little bit about what to expect from the podcast, who I am, and talk about the business that I have. I'm excited to be here with you. This has been something I've been considering for a little over a year now, thinking about doing a podcast for some time, but times have been crazy and I've been crazy busy, hoping that the busyness has lent enough experience to be useful to you in some way as we get forward and get started here. This is going to be an imperfect process. I'm going to do my best to not hyper edit my episodes. I am a fan of polished work. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist sometimes. However, I am also a fan of getting things done and getting things out into the world for testing and use. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to bear with me and pardon any stumbling over my words or so on and so forth. Try to improve as time goes on. Let's talk a little bit about who this podcast is for. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since about 2011. That was when I launched my first book. I wrote a science fiction novel and self-published it in 2011. But ever since then, I've been trying to find a way to make a name for myself, to find a way to use my services, my skills, to make money under my own banner. And for most of my career, I have been self-employed. So this is for people who, like me, started an entrepreneurial journey and are still in that journey trying to keep pushing forward, keep driving their business, and improving every day. This is also for people who work for some entrepreneur or in companies that are a little bit more established or organizations who might have marketing in their title. Chief Marketing Officer, Head of Marketing, VP of Marketing, so on and so forth. If you're a marketing titled employee, this podcast is also for you. We have had primarily service-based businesses as our clients at Clarity Business Design, so a lot of our insight is going to come from that experience and from the study we've done, really trying to serve those clients better. But my hope is that the concepts that we cover are mostly going to be applicable to just about any business. We've worked with several industries, including home services, professional cleaning, real estate, home improvement, home inspectors, home builders, also multi-million-dollar corporations, nonprofits, local chambers of commerce. We have a pretty diverse client base, and we're hoping that that varied experience will come in handy when it comes to answering some of the more outside of the box questions that will come up over the course of the show. And speaking of questions and comments, my hope is that you will be inspired and interested enough to share your questions with me and with the show. And so please, if you're seeing this on a platform that allows you to send in questions, go ahead and leave those comments. Send us an email at hello@claritybusiness.design. with the word podcast in the title, and we'll get those questions worked into future content and reach out to you for additional details. So without further ado, we are hoping that the content we cover is going to be applicable to your product-based businesses, maybe your e-commerce-based businesses. We are going to talk quite a bit about platforms that brands use online to support explicitly online business, and also business done in a more traditional sense in person with a brick and mortar shop, networking, etc. So if you're not in the service industry, I hope you keep listening. But if you are in a service industry, I believe this will be very helpful to you. And finally, we are based in Washington State in the United States. Your mileage may vary. We are working in an increasingly global world, so some of this advice will be applicable to other areas of the world, but just know that most of my experience, actually all of my experience, is based on business here in the United States, and take any business advice with a grain of salt and apply it to your locality. So a little bit about me. My name is Erik Soper. I am based here in the greater Seattle area. Right now I'm in the state capital of Olympia, about hour 15 minutes away from Seattle proper. I'm from the Midwest, from Illinois, but was raised here in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State, spent majority of my life here, so practically native Washingtonian, I guess you could say. I grew up with several varied interests. I got into stop motion video making with my Lego sets at a pretty early age. Started writing pretty early on and continued to write until the end of my high school. And after that, writing kind of took a back seat to website design, but I was raised with an IT instructor as a parent and had a lot of access to information about technology growing up. Didn't always have access to the finest technology, though. A lot of my tech growing up was hand-me-downs from my dad's work. And so as a result, I spent a lot of time growing up troubleshooting and trying to get the softwares that I needed to use for my videos or wanted to use for my Photoshop self-education or my writing, trying to get everything to work on these old computers running Windows 95 in the days of Windows Vista. But all of that is to say, I grew up learning how to troubleshoot things. And that sort of mentality has carried into what I do now on a daily basis. A lot of what I do is troubleshoot technical issues or try and find a creative solution for a business problem when I'm working with my clients. So that really provided a solid foundation for me growing up, trying to make my technology work and also pursuing a lot of different creative interests. My first passion in what I do now is building my business. In my off time, I enjoy tabletop and board games. I have a Dungeons and Dragons group that I get together with on a regular basis, and I've been doing that for several years. But I also challenge myself against online opponents in video games such as Halo and Super Smash Brothers. And I'm somewhat competitive-minded in those areas, but not competitive professionally by any sense of the word, because I spend so much time focusing on what I do best, which is helping my clients, trying to build up my business, and find new and exciting ways to get results in my business and the businesses of my clients. I built my first portfolio of clients in less than 2 years as a freelance graphic designer / website designer, developer in 2014 to about 2015, 2016. And I ended up selling that book of business to a local marketing agency and worked there for about 1.5 years before I started out and established Clarity Business Design, which I still run to this day. And that was a very interesting experience. I'll probably talk about in other episodes. But what it showed me was what is most important, and that was creative freedom to solve problems in a way that I see fit. And what I've done is I've built Clarity Business Design around that idea for the last few years. So I started Clarity Business Design in 2017, established it as eventually a marketing consultancy that would be serving the greater Seattle and greater Phoenix business markets. We're currently in our 5th year of operations. But it really started out as taking those website design skills, website development skills that I'd been honing for the previous 2 or 3 years and translating them into a business model that combined design and development with business strategy. Because I saw a lot of my local competition really struggling to create websites that were effective for the clients that I wanted to serve. Websites that looked visually impressive but didn't really do anything. They just kind of sat there and looked pretty. And so ever since I started Clarity Business Design, it's been my intent to keep that from happening for my clients. And how that has worked so far is we've been able to help a number of clients not only have a beautiful brand presence, beautiful and functional website, but also a website that supports the various activities that they're doing in their daily marketing efforts and feeds information into appropriate systems in order to make things work more smoothly. So now that I've talked a little bit about myself and about where Clarity Business Design started and how we're approaching our projects, let's talk a little bit about what to expect. So brand building is one of the biggest things that I focused on with my clients, and I'm going to be bringing as much as I can to you through this podcast about helping you solidify your brand so that you feel empowered to just go out there, promote your business, promote yourself, and feel like you're doing the right thing and you're heading in the right direction. We do have a lot of ground to cover with brand building, but there are a lot of tools that you can use to help with your branding and your marketing. So we'll talk a little bit about software. We'll talk about the tools that you can use to build your marketing platform, including website-related tools, some of the softwares that I've used with my websites in order to produce effective systems in the past. And that will help segue into some of our conversations about modernizing the various ways to do business. A lot of businesses still have outdated systems, outdated methodologies, and we want to help you kind of see some of those opportunities to bring your business up to a modern standard. Totally judgment-free here. Business is about iterating and developing and, as they say, building the airplane after you jumped off the cliff on the way down. But there's always room to improve. We're always improving, and we hope that our insight can help you improve as well. We'll talk about some marketing tactics and ideas, and this is something that we'll probably explore in our group coaching in our business later in the year. But figuring out the right way to market your company and the way to get some clarity around that company, pun is definitely intended, is our key focus with those topics. And some actionable ways to apply that clarity in your marketing mentality is a final subject matter that we'll cover every now and again to help tie some of the tools and resources and tactics together in a way that's healthy, in a way that helps your business to grow. And I think that's going to be just about it. So if you feel like this is something that your business can really benefit from, or that you as an individual can benefit from, I'd love to see more from you in the future. I'd love to hear from you. If you've made it this far and you want to hear more from Clarity, find the Clarity Business Design Show on your podcast platform of choice. We're planning to be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as a bare minimum. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review, leave us a comment. It'll really help to grow the show and reach others like you who need the same information. Share us with your friends, not your competitors. And if you want to network with other entrepreneurs and marketing titled professionals and get insight into your daily marketing ideas, become a member of our group coaching community. This is going to be a resource that we are building. And so right now we're in our beta group stage. You can pre-register at community.claritybusiness.design. That's the entire URL. Just go ahead and sign up there, and that'll get you into the group. We're going to be launching a private Slack channel for people to network, get some insight into their daily marketing ideas and questions, and it'll be the best resource for all of the information that Clarity Business Design is putting out in 2022. So I really hope to see you in there, and I hope that this is a great introduction to what we're doing at the Clarity Business Design Show. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care.